Hey guys, thanks for checking out the podcast. Before we get started, I want to remind you about the very cool bucket list trip I am doing in 2026, the Smitty Learns Irish podcast, where I'm going to do my bucket list, hike Ireland for a year, learn about Irish history, town by town, through the mouths of the pub owners and regulars. Because what's a better way to learn about something you love than to experience it yourself? Patreon.com/we3smiths, only $3 a month, and thanks for checking it out. Seeping is the key word here. Smart enough to figure it out. I just ask questions and talk shit. I'm not the news. All I saw was a lake, mountains, and some trees. That's the running theme on this fucking podcast. Whoever deserves mocking, and that includes a host. Man, there is a record amount of meth in this place. Smitty. Just sounds like stuttering Smitty.
Now it's 2022, y'all. Fuck milk crates, y'all.
Get the fuck out of here. What the hell? Everything. I would welcome any tips or tricks you could give me, Michael Stevens, now that you mention it.
Well, now it's funny. Okay, so we'll give the quick story. He literally lives now 2 blocks from me.
Dude, what is that like? Where do you live at? What's don't tell people.
Well, they'll know everyone knows anyway. Christmas time and Halloween time, you will not miss my house. We're the most decorated house in Cadillac.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So we're right up the street, but we're right on the bend on the right hand side going towards Lake City.
Okay.
So it's greenhouse, white trim, white picket fence. Can't miss us.
I've probably, because I've honestly,
I'm sure you have,
been trying to just drive around this whole area the last 2 weeks.
Welcome to Cadillac.
Thank you.
Yeah, bud.
Thank you, man. I've really been just driving around trying to find shortcuts. Not that you need shortcuts, mind you.
I was thinking about this earlier. I can literally give you the ins and outs of Cadillac any time of the day, and if you want, where you want to go, when not to travel, and when to travel.
Dude, honestly, it's surprising, the traffic in Cadillac.
Oh, dude, growing up here, if you can drive here, you can drive anywhere in the world. It's so bad,
like
dude.
Detroit.
No, it's like, to be honest with you, if I didn't grow up driving in Cadillac, the first time I ever drove in Detroit was, about the same kind of hectic like Cadillac, but there's just way more people. Cadillac at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon is literally bumper to bumper, and everybody going like this,
it's
trying
so
for that one spot. And it's like, come on, man. Like,
and I got to drive through downtown
you.
because I live downtown, essentially. Yeah. And, like, the lanes are this big. And I feel like I'm fucking driving through, like, Korea.
Yeah. Cadillac is never, ever. It's a great spot to learn to drive. But,
But I love it. I love this little town.
Yeah,
I always have. Are you from Cadillac?
I am from. So I was born in Reed City. I spent the first five years of my life down in Everett. And my parents divorced, but my mom worked at Four Winds. She worked there for 35 years. So she moved us up here a year after my parents divorced, and I've been here ever since. So I graduated high school here. The only time I was away was for college. I mean, I came back every few months.
You're native.
Yeah.
You're native to this area.
So this is the stomping grounds. If you need the best pizza ever known to man, G&D.
I just got pizza there the other day.
Dude, it's so good.
I posted this story, but I'll tell it again. It was so funny. I felt like such a dick. I didn't know the number for G&D's Pizza and Party Store, and I'd passed it a couple times. I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to order pizza from that place.
Call? Yeah.
Yeah. So I Googled the thing, and...
Oh, so you didn't get the slice pizza?
No, I wanted up pizza.
Okay.
You look like the kind of guy that gets a slice.
No, but here's the thing. This is the thing about G&D, and I'm sorry, G&D, if you do see this. Local sponsor for you. So here's the thing. G&D pizza out of the box.
I just gave him a plug the other day.
Not my favorite pizza. It's very different. But if you get the pizza by slice at the counter, oh my God, it is very different pizza and to die for.
I actually really liked the way they did their inbox pizza and the way they did their slices and everything. Mm-hmm. The longer slices, the longer triangular slices are really fun.
But yeah, next time you go, it's $1.25, $1.50 for like ham and mushroom, and then they have a specialty pizza every day.
Okay.
And that's like $2.
So here's the thing.
Didn't know the number. So I
Yeah.
looked it up on my phone, and it popped up, and I clicked call. And they're like, hey, G&D's Pizza. And I'm like, hey, I'd like to order this and that and this and that. And they said, okay, $45. I'm like, well, that seems expensive, but I'm going to go ahead and pay for that because
They
I ordered it.
delivered.
Anyway, I get to the 45 minutes later. I get to G&D's Pizza, and I said, "Hi, I'm picking up a pizza for Nate. We don't have an order for Nate." And I said, "Well, that's odd because I called and placed the order. What's your number?" Told her my number. She's like, "We do not have an order for you." I looked it up. I called whatever the pizza place in Traverse is. That's G&S or something like that pizza. Because my phone still thinks I live in Traverse City.
Another reason. That was probably why it was more expensive too.
Oh, yeah, because it was half the price. I'm like, well, that's better. But it was like, then I had to eat crow and call that place in Traverse.
Yeah.
Say, hey, sorry, guys. I know I ordered this
I'm
pizza,
nowhere
but
near
I
you.
won't be able to pick that up.
Yeah, sorry about that, GNS. No, yeah, G&D. We went there because school had off-campus lunch, so we would go to G&D every day for lunch. And that was when it was $1, $1.50 for pop and pizza. So it was cheaper than school lunch.
I'm definitely trying to figure out like where the cool local places are.
The Clam, of course.
Clam Lake. Beer
Clam.
Company.
Raven's
I've
great.
been there several times.
Raven. Here's my thing with the Raven. The Raven started off as a great idea and restaurant. The food was not stellar, but it was. They have come a long way. They've revamped their menu. They continue to be open. I think they just said they're not doing lunch anymore. But evenings, it's great. It's pricey, a little bit pricey for my taste, but it's good. They had poutine on the menu when they first opened. The only spot. Oh,
you can never
my
lose
God.
with poutine.
So good. The party bar down the street a bit,
There's
down
the
Mitchell.
saloon that I've stopped into a couple times.
The saloon?
What is it? The
Roaring 20s? Oh, God, stay away from there.
Why?
As a kid, that was a bad place to go. Or I've always was
Because it ain't
told
for
as a
kids.
kid.
It looks like it's for grown men.
Yeah, I'm not even going to tell you the jokes that go along with the Roaring 20s, but I mean, maybe it's in a better spot. I haven't been there since I was like 18, which is now what? A long time ago.
Oh, dude, I was just there the other day.
19 years ago. But the party bar is a great spot. They have the best burger you'll ever get. The party bar is down across the street from Maggie's, which is now closed. House of Hunan right across the street from House of
Dude,
Hunan.
honestly, every time I would come to Cadillac,
Yep.
over the years, I would be like, man, I want to go to Maggie's.
Yeah, Maggie's
I want
was
to go to
great.
Maggie's. And
The pandemic,
go to
unfortunately.
Maggie's, and it was fucking closed.
The pandemic, unfortunately, finally got the last one in Maggie's.
It's a bummer, man.
It really is. There's a lot of little businesses like that that unfortunately didn't make in Cadillac. But Party Bar has a burger called the Sticky Burger. It's
Stinky?
Sticky
burger.
Sticky Burger. And I for years as a kid going in there, it was like, I'm not trying it. It has peanut butter and barbecue sauce.
Oh, when you said sticky, I was gonna say, did it have peanut butter on it?
Yes, and it's amazing, dude.
I've been trying to talk my brother into because I've
and they have the
had
most
peanut butter burgers before.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's something about that flavor contrast that it puts him off. He's
Really?
like, I'll never try that. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Do you love peanut butter? Yeah. Do you love burgers? Well, clearly.
There's something about it. The sweet and savory. There's something that, and when you add the barbecue sauce, it's unreal. But I think I was drunk one night, and I said, I'm going to try this burger. And it was the best burger I've ever had in my life. And then I woke up and be like, what did I eat? Because I was like, that was so good. And so I finally went back, sober. And I was like, I'll have another one. And they're like, okay, I made it. It's just as good. It is a great drunk burger. It's a great lunch burger. It's a great burger. And I'm a burger aficionado. I like to think that I've had every burger.
I tried that with pickled eggs before, and it was not as good. It was not as good sober. It was not as
Nothing
good sober.
pickles as good as sober. Oh, I'll never forget growing up. Pickle bologna, man. I finally got sick on pickle bologna once, and I'll never, ever, never will do it ever again.
It's easy to do.
Yeah,
my
it's so
dad
good.
would have that around all the time. And
It's a hunting family thing. I think it's a Northern Michigan thing, to be honest with you, or a Midwest thing. I don't know.
It's just a redneck thing.
You tell people
It's
pickle
gotta be a
bologna, and
redneck thing.
they instantly like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "It's not bad, but
man, I wish I could.
we always had a deer camp."
I loved talking with my Army friends about like things that were regionally popular, or like
See what is
like trying to
different?
explain to them what euchre was, and then nobody outside like Michigan had any fucking clue what euchre
No.
was.
It's Michigan and Florida because everyone from Michigan goes to Florida. Maybe it's a little bit of Arizona. I do that all the time in the gaming industry. I have a buddy that's stationed in Nebraska, of all places, from Louisiana. The other guy that I play with is from Mississippi. So we talk regional stuff all the time, and they just like Faygo Pop, because obviously that's how we know pop is Faygo Pop. It's made in Detroit, obviously, and I love Faygo to death. Like Faygo was my thing as a kid, Red Pop especially. And
I don't call it pop anymore.
You know,
I call it soda.
how dare you? And you're from Michigan,
Dude, ever since I was in the Army.
Exactly.
So
we don't call it. We don't not call it soda. We don't call it pop. We call it soda pop now because my wife's from Wisconsin, and she really wasn't on the whole pop thing until she was around me enough. You go to like North Dakota and say pop, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "It's soda, carbonated flavorness."
Carbonated beverages. Please.
Yeah, I like one of those. But I finally talked to my buddy in Mississippi to get a Faygo, and what did he have? Oh, he got the cotton candy one right off the bat. Cotton candy flavor. And he's like, "This is terrible. Why did you make me drink this?" I was like, "Which one do you have?" Cotton candy. I was like, "All right, listen, they have like 90 flavors. Just pick the normal
rye,
Yeah,
man.
exactly." He's like, "Yeah, I like rock and rye." So he did end up liking Faygo. But there's other things that, like, he never had Swedish fish.
See, that's the thing. I think that's candy, right? It's like
It's a
gummy
fish.
candy?
Yeah, but it's like
gummy
from
candy?
northern. It's from like Sweden, like the whole Norwegian countries, and I think it's more of a northern U.S. thing because like he had never.
I'd
had
never
it
heard of it before. I had a friend in Sheboygan, and her and her kid.
Oh man, it's
would
so
eat
good. They're
Swedish
addicting.
fish all the time, and I was like, I've never fucking heard of that ever.
It's so good.
But I mean, it's just like, but I don't never eat candy either.
Right.
Like I eat
I grew-
chocolate,
yeah.
but I never eat candy.
My dad owned a party store, so I candied myself out as a
dude.
kid.
100%.
Oh yeah, I mean you imagine being in like so that's the other thing, party store. When I say party store,
dude, I bet you had so much alcohol you took from that place.
oh, I wish. I wish that was not the case. We did. I had to stack the coolers, so I had to like get all the stuff in there. We used to play hide and seek in the coolers, but I never took the alcohol. I took Gatorade. There was 3 flavors, glass bottles. There was yellow, white, and orange. No, yeah, I'm sorry. Yellow, red, and orange, and then the white was a new flavor. 4 Gatorades. I drank Gatorade by the dozens. Pop. There was a pop that I literally drank myself to sickness when it was out. It was called Shasta.
Oh yeah.
It was like a red.
Yeah,
it's like an Shasta or whatever.
I think it was Shasta.
It was a
orange.
Pepsi. It was a Pepsi product, but it was like remember Jolt and all those super caffeinated pops, Surge. So that was Pepsi's answer to those now energy drinks. But I had like 5 in one evening. Oh my God, I was puking red. My parents thought I was dying.
How old was Michael Stevens at that point?
Actually, the funny thing was, it was a day before Lyle's wedding. So I would have, and then I was like recovering at his wedding. That was March of '97.
You're just a young one. You're just a young guy.
Yeah. So I was only 12, 13, 12.
Can't just leave me alone with all these sodas.
Oh,
you're
my
like
mom
Forrest Gump.
was not happy with my dad. Not at all. But yeah, I candied myself out as a kid. So.
Hey, before we get into a sugar coma.
Yeah.
Before we get into a sugar coma,
This is where we had an ad?
sponsors. No, yeah, I got to talk
sorry.
about my sponsors, and that's M22 in Sutton's Bay.
Beautiful area.
This is a gorgeous area. I'm actually Kevin from M22 is having a series of baseball games October 2nd at Turtle Creek Stadium, and I'm
nice.
going to announce those games.
Oh, beautiful.
I figured I should plug that. Anyway, they have a wonderful little inn right nestled along West Grand Traverse Bay. You can see it from space. It's fantastic.
If you go out, you can wave and see people in space.
Yeah, and after this is done with the live stream, the link will be up in the description on the video.
Very nice.
There you go. Thanks, Kevin and the crew at M22N.
Oh, you turn that back on? I like that.
What?
See, I like having a display that I can see.
Really? I
Yeah.
usually turn it off
See,
because it's distracting.
But see, I also like hearing myself in the headphones. A lot of people don't.
I prefer that.
I'd prefer that.
Because I have to hear how it's sounding
Right.
going over.
See, I always like having a monitor.
I did have, because what we're talking about, you can't see it. I could see, we have the TV up in my living room where the fucking studio is, and it's projecting what is going out over the internet, essentially, right?
OBS, yeah. So
Yeah.
OBS, what you're using, and I told him all these things I can help him with, because this is all part of streaming. So like what I do,
I don't like looking at
use
myself while it's happening, though. 'cause
see,
it
I do,
fucking
because
distracts me.
I have to see, I am a creature of, it has to be great quality, so it has to be visually great, and it also has to have great audio. So I have to see where the bars are. I have to make sure that the music I'm playing, the game I'm playing, everything, that has to be just right. That's just my what do you call it? My
Audio input?
My disorder. Like, I have to make sure those are perfect. So it has to be up at all times. So like in my place, I have 4 monitors. The one over there on my left has OBS and Discord, where I talk to my buddies and all that jazz. The one above me has chat, so if people are chatting, I can talk to them and see what they're asking, stuff like that. And then the one on the bottom is the game, and then the one on the right is just internet.
Man, so many things to have up,
Yeah.
you know? Because,
But
I mean, I
that's-
barely have, we have the live stream up
Yeah.
here on YouTube. So if anybody's chatting, but that's one thing when I started doing this podcast,
Yeah.
I would have the chats up, and then I would just get distracted by whatever the fuck I was talking about. Now I'm saving the chats till the end of the podcast. So if there's anybody chiming in, I'm gonna have to fucking wait
Got you.
till the end.
Got you.
Till
So,
the end. I'll leave it up.
but that, to get back on a regional thing, that's a party store. That's another one. Regional is like, so if you tell somebody from out of state, what I'm going to the party store, they're like, what's a party store?
Yeah.
Or are you getting like birthday hats and like, they actually think it's a party store.
Liquor store, convenience store.
It's-
There's all
yeah.
sorts of them, man.
But party store in northern Michigan is unique. Nobody else calls it a party store. It's corner store or beer store or anything like that. We just call it a party store. And that's unique to our region.
I think about that stuff sometimes, you know, like just there's a whole. You could have a conversation with somebody about from a different part of the area about this something, you know. You could have a conversation about the same thing that happened to you, some experience,
Right.
and you're using totally different lingo, and you wouldn't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Correct.
That probably doesn't make any sense.
No, it does. Every time I go to the UP, I have that issue with somebody every time. Just because things are different in the UP. Northern Wisconsin's the same way. When I went to school there, very different, but same situation. They call water fountains bubblers. So, like, you know, as a kid, like,
Who does?
Wisconsin people.
Really?
Yes. So, like, when Wisconsin people from Wisconsin.
Oh
so,
man, we could get Cartman on the phone right now.
right,
actually.
correct. You could, and I guarantee you'd ask him what is a water fountain called. He'd say a bubbler. For some reason, they called it a bubbler. And so, like, the first week I was in college, I told I gotta go to the water fountain. They're like, the bubbler? I was like, no, the water fountain. What is a bubbler? They're like, that's what we call water fountains. It's like, why don't you just call it a water fountain? It's a bubbler.
Because it's called a bubbler. Hello.
Why is it a bubbler? You don't get bubbles out of it. Like, why is it a bubbler? So that was a very odd one. But yeah, that's. And then when I went to North Dakota, that was even. North Dakota isn't really a state in my eyes. It's just a different country.
Why?
It's in the middle of nowhere. They survive some of the coldest and hottest weather I've ever experienced in my
I think
life.
North Dakota gets a bad rap, but I've
North
only driven through
Dakota
it once.
is one of the best states I've ever lived in. The people are nothing but nice. You know, they're very old in the way of doing stuff and thinking. They're not, you know, they're not on the heels of brand new things by any means. We went out there when the oil boom was happening, though. They had the most oil in the lower 48. Then got in trouble that they found this new way of drilling oil, so they go down and then over. So they were taking Canada's oil, which was not a good thing. But they had a lot of oil. And everybody from Michigan, this was when the economy was in the tank in 2008, 2009, 2010. And everyone from Michigan was going out and working on oil rigs because you would make a ton of money.
They're still doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing it. It's just not nearly as much as when 2008, 2009, 2010. Like, everybody was out there. They had so many people out there. There's only 500,000 people in the state, and it's a big state. There was only, like, if you average it out, it's like one person per 10 miles. And I was like, geez, that's not a whole lot of people. And we lived in Minot, which was 37,000 people, which is the biggest city I've ever lived in. And then, like, it's the third biggest in North Dakota. Fargo is the biggest at, like, 2.5 million people, something like that. But everybody would go to these cities and try to find a spot to live. There was nowhere to live. Similar to the housing crunch that we have right now. Like, there's nowhere that you can find living in northern Michigan. And if you do, you're going to pay a lot of money usually. But, like, here, that's like what it was in North Dakota, except there was no houses. Like, you were paying a lot of money for houses to be built. And they built a lot of houses, but it was a lot of money to get housing.
Man, I think they're really this last
it was the wildest thing. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen, especially in Traverse City.
Yeah,
like it was down to 7 day cash, no inspection for houses.
Yeah,
I was like, are you kidding me?
I really feel like they're really starting to like build out from the town.
I mean, if they hadn't already.
Well, I mean, they are, but now it's happening where now the town is expanding because there's nowhere else in town. So
correct.
It's. I think I had heard somebody had said something once, and at this point, it was 20 years ago that I heard this person say this. They said Traverse City is going to be as big as Grand Rapids in 20 years, and at this point, 20 years later, it's a fucking poor Back to the Future reference.
It is.
But, dude, at some point. They're
gonna run out of spots. I mean, it depends. You can't say they run out of spots, but there's a lot of expensive stuff up there. Like even down here, you run it. Like we're getting into the point now. If you have land, you have money again. Like that will never go away. If you have land, you have money. Like the start
of going anywhere.
No, like if the start of time, like or when we came over the United States, the more land you had, the richer you were, right? So like. We just went through that crisis where if you had land, you had a lot of money. I mean, they probably sold it, or you held on to it and see what you could tip it out at. But you look at houses. I went to Houghton Lake. Example. We went to Houghton Lake. My cousin was out there. I'd never driven around the lake. If you've gone to Houghton Lake, you usually take M55. You're either through town or you take 127, whatever. You usually don't go all the way around the lake. My cousin's mom and stepdad live on the east side of the lake, so I had to go all the way around it. I either had to choose. It was Labor Day weekend, so I had to choose to go through town or I could go north. I was like, you know what? I've never been to the north end. I'll go around north. I mean, like many traditional lake spots in northern Michigan, there's houses upon houses in like one lot, and they're like people just building on each other. I was like, man, Houghton Lake has a ton of houses. And they have when you look at Houghton Lake, they only have like 1,000 people that live there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's so funny. You get towns like that,
and it's got to be all people.
When you drive through it, because there's a fuck ton of housing.
Yeah,
and there's not a lot of people in town.
Yeah,
you can tell when you drive by. Cadillac is like the opposite.
Right, people live here.
It's not a lack of housing necessarily, but it is chock full of people when it's like a rush hour or something.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like in Cadillac, they tried to. Growing up, you could see them trying to do the Traverse City thing, where they went out of town. So there's subdivisions all around town, of course. Some of them have made it, some of them have not. But everyone wanted to do the get out of town. I don't want to be in town thing. But here in Cadillac, there's a bunch of little cities around Cadillac. So it's not really they had to leave town. They went to, Mewataka, or they went to McBain, or they went to other small cities where they could build, or there was a farmhouse or something like that. They didn't necessarily have to build like in Traverse City, where they're building subdivisions all around the place.
It's really handy that the expressway is right off my
there.
street.
It's a mile away.
Go boom. I'm like, I bet I drove into this town.
Now, as a kid growing up, that was not there. Now imagine all that summer traffic coming through town.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason that was built when I was in ninth grade.
When did they extend 31 and 131 and make it an expressway?
2001. As a Sojourner Truth Highway or something like that. And you could walk it when they first did it. But that was 20 years ago. It's been there 20 years, and it stops just after Manton. We thought for sure they would extend it all the way, but
they were supposed to. They were supposed to extend it through Lake Kalkaska and Mansalona, and everything that tries to happen there gets poo-pooed.
I mean, this stretch here went through a lot of trouble.
That's why it shocks me. Because honestly, there's things that they've tried to bring into like Cadillac, or excuse me, not Cadillac, but Kalkaska, Mansalona. They tried to bring that NASCAR track in there 20 years ago.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah. It got shot down.
That would have been huge 20 years ago.
Yeah. They tried to bring that expressway in through there, and that got shot down. That's why it shocks me that Kalkaska is such like a weed town now.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, once they legalize that, I was like, there's so many little cities that are going to benefit from, because that's what they've been waiting for.
It took a long time, I feel like. Well, obviously it took a long time to become legal, but it takes a long time for some of these towns to get their heads out of their asses.
And realize how much money they can make. I mean, to be honest with you, Travers just now approved, right?
Yeah, they say that, but I mean, they've drugged their feet and changed their minds and screwed people out of money how many times at this point?
Because when you were up there, you had to go. You went to Beulah?
Beulah and then Kalkaska.
In Kalkaska. See,
Honor, not Beulah, but I mean.
Honor, yeah.
Crapshoot.
See, here, I don't think they ever really had an issue. Loom came in right away. But they're in the city. They're on top of the hill, south end of town. So if you go all the way down, they're on the top of the hill.
Is there another one? Because I've only stopped at Loom.
Loom, there's one downtown across from the cop shop.
Of course it's there.
I think it's, but it can't. I think the rules are you can't be on the main drag in downtown. I think that's the rules. I could be completely wrong on that, but there is another one. I think there's two more after Loom.
Okay.
But there used to be one on the north end of town. That was when medical was legal, and this was when I first started at 9 and 10. My buddy, we were going to the north end of town. What did we go? We went to Meijer for something, or no, we went to GameStop for something, and we were coming back. He's like, "Hey, stop into the pot shop." I was like, I don't know if I can, dude. Like, I don't know how working at 9 and 10 of this works. Like, and even my wife, she was like, I kind of want medicinal card because she has back issues and she has a lot of this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if you necessarily gonna have a card with our last name on it. Like, I don't know how that's gonna look for work. Like, this was when I cared about.
No,
what bosses thought at work,
right? But that's the thing. It's like, dude, that was the longest time. I was like, I would talk about it on the air,
right?
And those the first couple times I was trying to play it like really coy, even when it was legal,
right?
And I was still trying to just like dance around the topic, and didn't want to really talk about it a lot. I got a little ballsier as time went on,
right?
But I liken it to, I still thought I was going to get arrested when I was sitting out in my garage smoking a bowl,
right?
You know what I mean? Because there's a stigma on it that seems like it's always going to be there, but that's because I'm used to it being illegal my entire life.
That was the way my dad was. My dad was always a huge smoker. I mean, that's the reason he died was he smoked cigarettes since he was like 16. But he was a big, weed guy. He loved weed, and it was a way for him to zen. But when they legalized it, he was 60, 61, 62. I think he died at 63. But he had this stigma of like, I can't have this stuff here. I was like, Dad, it's legal. Like, no one's going to bust into your house and arrest you or anything like that. And he's like, no, I can't have it. It's illegal still. I was like, he was just always in that mindset of it's still illegal, just because it was always illegal, and you always had to do things to get around.
I was shocked I got my dad to smoke weed on camera when we were doing a couple of these podcasts, because like your dad, I mean, he smoked pot his entire adult life.
Right.
And, we did I did that summer school tent fort, at the Folks. And I was shocked because I didn't think he would. Like, he was still...
so was that his
felt like he had to hide it, but he didn't want people to know.
Was that his thing? Was that his first time
on camera?
But he just didn't want to. So here's my thinking on this. Okay, so older generation obviously has a different way of, that they're used to doing things, obviously, or how they were raised. Things are different. So like, was that a thing growing up that he, would step aside and like hide and enjoy, or was that, just something he never thought appropriate?
He's a non-vet, so they turned to all kinds of drugs,
right?
Back in the day, he just kept weed with him,
right?
When he left, and as far as I know, he, I don't know how well known he was for smoking weed, but I mean, his
how old is your dad?
How old?
Yeah.
72 or
So
37.
he's the same generation my dad. My dad was like his number was up to go to Nam,
Yeah.
and like the day after the war ended. So he was just on the cusp of getting drafted.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're in the same boat, but like he grew up in a little small farm town, and like that's what he did. Like they would smoke weed. And
Yeah, I
that's the
mean,
thing.
he always acted like that he wanted to avoid the stigma even after it was legal.
Right.
You know, it's not just not something you admit and like show people you do.
Right.
But his nickname was Stoner walking into the goddamn Alden bar when I was a kid, and it was like cheers, man. It was like Norm Stoner. It was the same fucking thing. You know? But I mean, there's honestly, it just gets stuck in you.
Right.
You know, the old people, and it's like, what now that we've grown up with
Right.
is going to change and become the norm?
Oh,
Or
there's
something
so much.
similar when we're older. You're going to be like, it takes a fucking long time to wrap my head around some of this
Yeah.
stuff, man.
There's a lot of things. Like,
That's why I try to give people like a little, not like a long leash or anything like that,
right.
with some of the people that are uncomfortable with a lot of the changes being made in like the country and the world. There's just some people that just are so like
Change is the hardest thing, man.
old-fashioned or
Yeah.
just not prepared to fucking think that way or to deal with those things. But again, I don't want to give them a long leash. Like, you
No.
got to change with the world,
Evolve.
but you got to understand where people are coming from on a lot of shit.
Correct. I mean, that was the biggest thing. And I'm going through it at work because, you know, you're getting different generations now that are starting to work in the TV industry. And it's very different than, and me and some people at work have had this discussion. It's time. The time is
It's
changing.
like I look at you and I'm like, oh, you're still very young.
But I've been there 13 years, man.
It's true.
You know, I'll be 37 this November.
Wow.
And I started there when I was 25 or 24. So, I mean, it's a long time. You're getting a whole new generation of kids in now that are starting their career in TV, and how they do things and how they perceive things and how they just work in general is very different than what a lot of people who've been in the industry this long think. And to me, I have no problem. Like, I consider myself closer with that next generation than I do the older generation. I think it's easier for me to relate to the kids, obviously, because I'm more of in a kid field, if you will. Video games is like everyone, you know, south of me, I guess, can relate in some way of the changing world in video games. And I just see myself as a younger person than I am. So I can relate that way pretty easily. But like when you look at a lot of the stuff that, you know, when you were in high school, when I was in high school, when I was in college, you know, when you were in the service, like things are so different now. And if you don't change, man, the world just passes you by.
You'll lose opportunities. If you're
Oh,
unwilling
yeah.
to change, you're going to lose opportunities.
Yeah.
What's it like, man? Because I can only think about like radio.
Yeah.
As the next closest medium to TV. I think TV is doing better than radio still at this point.
I would say so, yeah.
Local TV, and I will say you work for a company that really embraces like other means
Oh,
of
yeah.
things
Very
rather
different.
than just the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
I applaud them on that because if they didn't, I wouldn't have my show. You know,
Right.
they said, to be honest with you, if you're a TV owner and last year someone says, "Hey, I have this opportunity," especially a local TV owner, not a, you know, cable channel,
especially a small town,
like
television owner.
People still think like, and that's a stigma that will never go away. People think you make millions of dollars being on a box and they watch you at home. No, that's literally my job. Just imagine a factory worker, but you know, there's a camera on you the entire time. Like it's not what people perceive a lot of times. But last year I said, hey, I want a 9 to 5 because I had been working the morning show for 11 and a half years. And you know, probably filling on the mornings, man, mornings is draining. But I like the morning shift because you have the rest of the day to work with. The shift I hate the most, and I hate working it, is second shift, 2:30 to 11:30. That's a normal TV shift. Now, we talked about the old way of thinking. TV was always an old way of thinking. The main shows were 6 o'clock evening news. That's when you have your Chief on. That's when you have all this stuff on. But that has changed since the early 90s. Remember, everybody would sit down at the dinner table, turn on the 6 o'clock news, get all of your daily news, and you're eating food, and then you have the rest of the evening to do whatever, right? That's no longer the case. Like, parents are out running their kids around. Kids are out doing stuff. Kids, this generation doesn't even watch TV. They watch YouTube. They watch Instagram. They watch every other means. They watch streaming services. They don't turn on TV service. And when you look at cord cutters, majority of people now stream live. Well, a lot of people now, a lot more than 6 years ago, stream live TV. So you have to change.
That really brings me back to the point that I wanted to make, was that getting the new, I was talking about comparing radio to
TV.
Getting fresh, new, young talent in that industry. For radio, it's got to be fucking impossible.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't tell you the last new person that I knew, like out of like Specs Howard or some sort of college, to come to work for radio stations.
Right.
Good fucking luck.
Did you read that article that Tim Logan posted?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I read that article.
Just, honestly.
And it hit home, and I'm not even in the radio industry. I was like, man, that's perfect.
Apply that, essentially, that same idea, and it was about the quiet quitting thing that's been making a lot of like talk, making a lot of headlines right now. And radio's the chief fucking
TV's right
perpetrator,
next to it.
man, because people expect you. Oh, you got to pay your dues, and you got to do all this fucking bullshit work for no money. I can't tell you the amount of times, especially that first 5-6 years that I was at the radio station.
Correct.
Where it was like, oh, I guess I'm working fucking 12, 14 hours today, and I'm making, what did I start? I bet you when I started in radio, I was making 18 grand a year. 18 grand a year, and that was in 07.
So that breaks down about $750 now.
Yeah, it was garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage. And it was the same. I was really making the same paycheck for probably, making garbage money and doing all this work. Mm-hmm. And nobody can ever afford a fucking raise. Nobody can ever afford, more time off or anything like that. You can't get more help. And you're just like...
And
I guess I have to do this in order to succeed at this industry that I want to work at. And then you have to
think of the, kind of stations that you work at too. What music are you playing? And does that cater to, or is that inducive to making money around the area? Like for me, when I was growing up, I loved The Zone 95.5, which was, when I listened to it, was like more of an alternative punk pop. That music here though does not make money. And at the time, in the early 2000s, that's when pop punk was at its biggest height. You had Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance. You had these bands, Paramore. You had these bands that were really making radio hits, but it was in the pop punk genre. So they could make a little bit of money off of it, but The Zone went the way of the dodo bird very quickly, and they changed it. And I believe 95.5 is call letters for the Bear, right? Or 95.5? No.
It's the same tower.
Same tower,
but it's different. 95.5 is 98.1 is the Bear.
98.1.
It's the same site.
Yeah. Got it.
But
so tying everything together, my station, 9 and 10, Heritage Broadcasting, I think it really saw, if we want to continue to do what we want to do, we have to change things up a little bit. And they said we need to make our own content. And that's what we do. If you watch 9 and 10, a lot of it is content-driven stuff, not just news stories, but it's content from around the area too. And so when I brought to them the opportunity to, take video games at the forefront, because there's nobody on TV, especially local TV, that has anything to do with video games. And I wanted to bring back that childhood gem of Saturday morning cartoons, because that's really not seen anymore. Kids have iPads and they watch cartoons, but you remember the excitement getting up on Saturday mornings, pouring yourself a bowl of cereal and sitting there and watching cartoons for 4 or 5 hours?
Yep, it's something that not one single fucking kid can relate to anymore.
No.
And it was the best.
It was the best. I would get up and sitting there in my underwear and, cross-legged in the living room just eating cereal, and then afterward I'd play video games. So I was like, I want to bring back that feeling, but at the same time mix in video games, because now kids on weekends will roll out of bed, turn on YouTube, and a lot of it is video game highlights. So I was like, what if I bring that content from YouTube, which is video game highlights, a little bit of entertainment, but at the same time, parents who might see video games as a waste of time, don't understand what their kids want to do. Let's make some education information with esports and video game programs that are now just every college out there. Like I just interviewed a college in Windsor, St. Clair College. They have something like 850 kids in their esports club program. That's not even their varsity program. They have like 150 kids in their varsity program, but 850 kids in like their club program.
When in the fuck did you
honestly
honestly and legitimately realize that you're like, oh, you can make real money doing this at like a job?
So to be fair and quite honest, when I started streaming, I was watching a streamer in 2014, my buddy, so like all the way at the beginning, buddy that I worked with said, hey, go to Twitch, this guy is playing Destiny. And Destiny was the game I was playing at the time. I was like, who wants to watch somebody play video games? I was like, that's just asinine. Why would you do that? And now that I talk to everybody, that's the same thing somebody says. That's the number one answer you'll get. And I started watching it, and it was entertaining. It was entertainment, not because of the video game, but because of the guy. It's free, and you can play with the guy or just sit there and laugh as he cracks jokes or does whatever. And I was like, this is actually crazy to me. And then when I realized he had thousands upon thousands of subscribers a month, which was at most or at least $2.50 a month, that's thousands of dollars a month that he's making on his own, and nobody else is doing it. And then you start seeing, it's for every game. It's not just for this game. It's everything. And then you have people that do random streams. It's like this stream. It's not just about...
Well, it's like reaction videos.
Reaction videos are the same way. I like to think of
reaction videos in the same vein, sort of, as like gaming videos, because you will see fucking... I remember... Reaction? Who the fuck wants to see me? I just want to see what I look like when I watch this fucking video. Ew, that's what it seems like when you say that. But when you just like...
It's entertaining.
I want to see somebody going through the same struggles on this video game that I was going through.
Correct.
And see how they react to that. I want to see people... I want to watch people's face when they hear a certain part of a song. It's like the ultimate fucking thing where it's something, you play a song for somebody and you want to see their face when it gets to a certain part. It's the same shit.
Exactly. Because like if you look, so the years of video games for me has always been memories with me and my buddies and random 24-hour or sleepovers that we'd have that weren't planned because we'd stay up all night playing video games, stuff like that. That is always what I've always based video games on. It was always a means of awesome buddy time that, you just don't get. It's just a high. You're always, you have someone there to yell at you, have someone there to support you, whatever it is. It's just being around friends. And I'm a social butterfly, so I mean, it works for me. Anyway.
You are pretty fucking fluttery.
You really are.
You are pretty fluttery. You are pretty fluttery.
So I was like, I kind of want to do this. So when I started it, and this is the thing that is huge with video games right now, is the esports world is so small because it's really not really. It started in Collegiate started in 2014. Really, esports in general that we now know is started like 2010. So it's still only 10 years, 11 years old. It's not very old. I still say it's baking. When you look at traditional sports, they have 100 plus years under their belt. So there's not much place for them to grow. You're adding stuff, and if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. In esports, you go into the video game world, and I've taken so many lefts that I never thought I would take. And there's a path that isn't even, there may be a footstep in it, but you're like, I'm going to go down this path, see what it does. So when I first started streaming, I started growing quickly. And then I jumped into a team kind of aspect where we had a bunch of streamers together that were together all under a moniker called the Hype Squad. And then 6 months later, someone said, you should join an organization. I was like, I don't even know what the fucking organization is. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. He's like, it's a organization of content creators, pros. Like, it's a spot where all these people, you're associated with it, but you get stuff from sponsors and all that jazz. I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, I'll apply. Me and my buddy applied. We didn't even know we applied to the same one. We both got into this is how old I am, a Skype interview room. Skype, which is, I don't even know if it's still a thing.
I think it's still a thing.
So
You didn't say
AOL
Messenger.
A messenger,
You know.
ASL. So it's we both went in there and interviewed. We both got in, but he couldn't do it because he had such a huge Call of Duty tie that he couldn't really mix into the organization well. And 6 years later, which last year, he became the Call of Duty community social media manager or something like that.
Okay.
So he's like literally working for Call of Duty now. I was like, that's insane, dude. But he's always wanted to do that. He's never had the freedom, or he's never had, so we've talked about where people are quiet quitting. But people of my generation, of your generation, are scared to jump because we've raised you work and then have fun, right? You do your work, you put the time in, doesn't matter what people ask, you do that job, and you do that job until you die. That's what my grandparents and my parents always
do, man.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Well, this generation in front of me, these kids are coming in and saying, I don't like this, I'm out. And they go find something. And that's why a lot of people are like, why is there no workers? They don't want to work at Taco Bell. They don't want to be a bartender. They want to do whatever the hell they want to do. And they don't care.
We just had somebody quit like that not too long ago at whatever job it was. They just were out. They were done.
Yeah.
They found another thing and they were gone, you know.
Later.
Honestly, the 2-week notice thing is kind of
It's
bunk
gone.
anymore because no companies give you 2 weeks. They're like, see ya the day of.
If you're going to leave, you're going to leave. So
it's just those norms are just changing.
Yes.
Man,
and that's what I think this generation is bringing to the table, and a lot of people don't like it. But he finally, I interviewed him, and he actually had just taken the dive. He's like, I said, you know, to my job that he had, I was like, I want to do this. Time's passing by, and I took a leap, and they hired him. I was like, that's sick, Dex. And he ended up, he's now the community manager of Call of Duty or something like that. So I got into that org, and I spent with that org 3 years, but I took more left turns in that org. I was a content creator for him, which is just a streamer playing video games and doing stuff. And then Fortnite came out, and we put a small team together, and I was really good at it back in the day. And I was like, Charlie, what if you carried a pro Fortnite team on console? He's like, yeah, sure. So he gave us the moniker of a pro team, and we did some events, and I was like, holy crap, I'm a pro esports team, and this is my hobby, you know?
Yeah.
And then after that,
you say do events. You actually
we went to
somewhere?
We went to the first event that was paid for, to Seattle, to the Fortnite event. That was the very first event, and if you qualified for finals, you got $5,000. If you qualified, and all you had to do was like get 3 points and you qualify. The most I ever had was 2.2, and like, so how you get a point was like you get a kill, and for most of the events, because there was 3 per day. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday was the finals. A lot of times 1 point, 2 points was getting in, and I was like, and it was 3 kills get you a point, and I got 2 kills right off the bat. It was like the first one that I flew in that I actually didn't have to fight someone off the bat. Got my guns, got everything, and I was running around. Got 2 kills, and then they took me on the big screen. There's nothing more. There's nothing more nerve-wracking than seeing yourself on the big screen or having people text you, they took you on stream. Yeah. And like, I do this for a living, but I was sitting there playing, and I was running up on a guy.
Dude.
And I kid you not, they had Fortnite, this is how big Fortnite was. So downtown Seattle, this was PAX West, and they had an event. Fortnite bought like a whole city block and put out things, and it was packed with people watching the big screen during the event. I was like, what is going on? So I'm sitting there, and they took me on the big screen, and all those people were sitting there, and this was when Fortnite really wasn't what it is now by any means. It wasn't super building. It wasn't, you shoot someone, they build a Taj Mahal real quick. So I was running at this guy, smoke him once, broke his shields, and then I jumped and popped him, and he built a platform above me, and he was up above, and he edited down on me, pop me, and I turn around, miss my shot, clap me. I was 10 health. He was 10 health away from dying. I was 10 health away from making finals, which I never would have stood a chance in finals, but I was that close. And everybody on the big screen, I guess my buddy recorded it, and everyone's just like, oh! And then you hear the commentator like, oh, poor Flake of Wrath. He's going to call it here. And little did I know that if I would have got that kill, I would have been in the finals. But that was so fun. We flew out to Seattle. We stayed in an Airbnb. There was 10 of us, 10 people. And we ended up making $15K out of 3 guys went to the finals. And the backer that sent us out there, I think we made $4,000. It was $11,000 to get us all out there. But it was all paid for and whatnot, and it was super awesome.
Shit.
So after that, I became a manager for that same organization. They rebranded into an organization called Lazarus. They're based out of Toronto, but I was a manager for them for a year, and I didn't know what went into managing. But I was statistics, analytics, and recruiting. We recruited 4 kids that won $4.5 million at Fortnite World Cup. $4.5 million, and these kids were under 18.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine going back to school after summer and be like, "What'd you do?" Well, I won $4.5 million. That's insane, dude.
You know, I would know I wasn't going to school.
Imagine your teacher like, "Oh, so what'd you do, Johnny?"
Yeah.
I just went to New York and won $4.5 million.
Yeah.
That's all. So after that, I took a year and got back to content creation because I had taken so many lefts that I'd basically kind of put my community and stream on the back burner. I wanted to get back to that, and so I was in a year in an organization called Guidance Gaming. It's a little org based out of Pennsylvania, I think. And then a year later, the show started, my half-hour show on 9 and 10, and Lazarus wanted to be part of that again, and I was like, yeah, sure, I can join up with Lazarus again. So I'm a content creator for them, and the content essentially is in the show, so it all goes hand in hand. But the whole gist of all this is I took so many left turns that I was like, you know what? There's got to be other people out there painting the canvas for esports. Like, because I painted so much, and I didn't even leave a dent. There's got to be people painting canvas in esports. And lo and behold, there is. There's medical professionals that are, painting their corner in the esports world. So imagine playing football without a trainer. You wouldn't do that, right? So there's medical people that organizations are hiring because kids are retiring at the age of 20, 21 because of issues with fingers, because they're doing this every day for hours, right? And their ligaments look like 65-year-old ligaments because they're just stretching them out and they're not doing the right things to take care of them.
Really?
Yeah, and people have back issues because they're not sitting correctly or their posture's wrong. Eyesight, of course, sleep and eating. That is the biggest problem with gamers. They don't get enough sleep and they don't eat healthy. And that's the biggest thing to keeping your mind sharp, which is the biggest tool you use in gaming. Next to, your abilities, I guess. But gaming, you're always 2 steps ahead of somebody up here. So there's a million things. There's casters for events. And events, I'm not talking about, let's go downstairs, there's 30 people, let's play some video games. I'm talking millions, 75 million people watching events online. Like, there's events around the world that are just asinine. It really hasn't set up shop yet in the United States. There are big events that will sell out. Little Caesars Arena, League of Legends, I think, sold out Little Caesars Arena, and they had an event there. But I'm talking Super Bowl numbers, and those are untouchable. But you're talking Super Bowl numbers with, like, the World Championship over in China and stuff like that.
What is the ceiling on that? What is the ceiling on gaming?
There isn't one. There is no ceiling as of right now. And that's because it's so young, it's continuing to grow. It's a multi-billion industry. But the problem is it only gets bigger. There's 3 things that survive a recession: video games, porn,
alcohol,
and movies. And alcohol is one of them too.
Probably,
but movies, we found during the pandemic, aren't, unless you have a streaming service, you're not super safe. Video games, you are super safe. People will still buy a game and still enjoy their entertainment. Porn, of course. People will still do whatever for 5 to 10 minutes of enjoyment. But
porn, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But the problem is with video game industry right now, and the biggest problem is people are killing themselves to create something that isn't receiving or getting return. So, like, people are making stupid junk money making something that they don't get return on. So that's the biggest problem in the video game industry right now. So it's like thousands of people making a game. Yeah, the platform that releases it gets a bunch of money, but Gary
How
over
often
here.
do you get excited? I wish. My goal is to get into video games once it's just mostly fucking VR.
Yeah.
And then I could be like Ready Player One, and I could just be in it.
You can play any game
You
in
know?
VR. Yeah.
Because I mean, I this shit, I can't
sounds-
I can't fucking do that. If I could make it,
We got to
easier.
get you on a mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard changed my life, dude.
No,
Yeah. Just
That's way
because
too
it's
confusing.
It's way easier. It's way easier. But with a controller, you get aim assist in every game, so that's different. It's what games do I get excited for?
Yeah,
Man,
how often are you
So-
getting excited by new games?
I will say this. Since starting the show, I've made it a point to try games that I wouldn't try, or try games that I mainly wouldn't. I can't just play one game anymore because that would get boring.
Right.
And I want to show people, what's happening with all these other games. So this summer we went through the Xbox Game Pass, which is like Netflix but for gaming. So Xbox has this thing where if you subscribe to it, you can just click a game and it'll install it and you can have it. So you don't pay for it. You're paying $10 a month.
Sure.
And you get all these games. So there was this one called Turbo Golf Racing. I was like, oh, this sounds terrible, but I'm going to try it. It literally was the most fun I'd had playing a game in a long time. But it's a car, and you have 6 other people with you, and you're racing to see who can put this giant ball in the hole first. And you have rockets, boosters, and all this junk, and you do 3 holes, and the person who averages out to, closest number 1 3 times wins. And I was like, wow, this is actually a lot of fun. What else did we do it with? We did it with, I played a driving game. I haven't played a racing game since I was like 12. And I played Forza Horizon 5, but it was a Hot Wheels DLC. And so, like, the track was Hot Wheels and the cars were Hot Wheels.
Okay.
That was so much fun. I'm super excited for the new PGA game coming out in October because it's a Tiger Woods-backed game. Tiger Woods is on the cover. It's a PGA Tour 2K23. So I was like, I love the Tiger Woods game of old, but since his little blow-up in the 2000s, I haven't really played a golf game. There hasn't been one.
What do you stop yourself from like playing sports games, or if like you're like, oh
used
man,
to.
this fucking PGA game's out, I want to do it on the show and on the channel.
I
you
used
know?
to, because playing sports games was like, it was very. I started streaming a game that wasn't necessarily everyone's cup of tea. The gaming world is different from the traditional sports world. And growing up, I always played Madden. I played baseball. I played NHL. And I think I overdid it growing up playing all those games. And then when Grand Theft Auto came out, I was all about Grand Theft Auto. Like, I just wanted to run around and do whatever the hell I wanted to do. Like, yes, I played that game. So that game, Grand Theft Auto 5, came out in 2013, 2012, something like that. I just recently went back to it because it's still actually legitimately making a ton of money and still a legitimate game. And I played it. I was like, oh, this game's bad. Like, I understand why parents were so upset. Like, now me being 36 playing this game, I was like, oh, yeah.
Dude, that's why I don't like I don't like watching clips from that or anything like that, because I feel like my dad, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like, how dare you kill this prostitute?
Oh,
you
my
know?
God, dude. I had this one clip, and I couldn't even bring myself to put it online. Like, the internet that it is. And I put gaming clips of me shooting somebody in the face from a mile away. But I could not find it in me to put this clip online. It was me and my buddy Clam, who I play games with all the time. I was in a car. He was on a bike. We came around a corner, and we were trying to see if we could get a prostitute to get in the car with me and him. So we were just driving around town, and she was walking down the street, and I stopped, and Clam hit the back of my car and went flying. He, like, flew right over me. I was like, oh, Clam, right here. So I backed up, honked the horn. She got in the car. Clam runs around, do-do-do-do-do-do, and, like, saying at the same time. He gets out, yanks her out. We couldn't get all 3 of us in the car at one time. So he yanked her out, threw her on the ground, gets in the car, and he's like, oh, sorry, I'll get back out. He got back out. She ran. I was like, gosh, dang it. Now now we got to find another prostitute. Which, mind you, we're talking about a prostitute in a video game here. All right, so then he's like, oh, he gets back in the car.
Cadillac prostitutes. Is that a real thing? I just moved here. I got to find out what's new.
Yeah,
Kidding.
Not about the nightlife here. So she runs up behind me, opens the door, rips me out of the driver's seat, and throws me on the ground, gets in the car and starts honking the horn. Clam's over here laughing. I was like, what is going on? I opened the door, took out my Magnum and shot her, threw her out of the car, and then Clam's still laughing, gets in the car. I shut my door, and she's like stuck in the door, and then just drove off, and her body's just doing this in the door. I drove away. I was like, I could not bring myself to put that clip on the internet. I was like, I have gotten old.
I don't play video games again, but I would watch Levi play Red Dead 2.
Oh yeah, Red Dead was a
you
great
could
game.
do all kinds of fucking terrible things.
But
I
that's
wish
the
I could
same
play
maker.
That game.
That's the same maker of Grand Theft Auto.
I know. I love that game.
Yeah.
I wish I could play it. I tried to, and I would just get panicky and like,
it's a tough game, but it's a great game. Rockstar makes great games, but that's where you have to
games like that.
Yeah,
that they're just as good as like movies.
Yes,
as like a great movie.
You should see games now
because there's great writing, there's great soundtracks,
Yep.
there's great production and dialogue.
Call of Duty changed that,
and you're in it.
Yeah, Call of Duty,
you're playing it.
Call of Duty and Halo changed that for everybody in the mid 2000s. So like 2005, 2006, 2007, they started hiring actors who did the voices. They started hiring people to write the scripts, and it was movies, but 8 hours of playing. Which was like, oh, this is amazing. Problem is that has gotten so saturated. The free games now flooded the market, and they're BR. So like Fortnite, all these games that are just open world. So it's like what I call Hunger Games. So you drop into a map, there's 100 of you, last one standing wins. So you get squeezed down in this little circle, but they're free, and people love a free game, and they sit there and spend their money in game and just go hog wild and get upset and rage. But the new Call of Duty that's coming out in November actually does look really, really good. They kind of have gone back and redone names, so it's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 again. But summer is the downtime for video games. So if you've, video games, the holiday push is always October, November, December. It's when new games come out. They haven't gotten away from that yet. January is usually the downtime of the winter. February, you might get a release or two. March, you get a few more releases. Then you get more releases by May and June, and then the summer's pretty quiet. What just came out? I think Madden just came out, but I haven't played Madden, and it's the same game, in my personal opinion, just rehashed the last 10 years, but it all depends. But the other thing is, too, there's games that you can just use creativity to make, like YouTube videos or streaming videos. It's just how you incorporate it. So that's where the creativity comes to. So like my show, I'm taking entertainment parts out of it, of 4 hours of streaming. I'll take 10 minutes of entertainment from those 4 hours. Hopefully I have 10 minutes of entertainment for it. And then the other half of the show. Yeah.
If
there's nights, dude, where it's just horrible and you have nothing to salvage for entertainment.
Dude, I get it, man. How many times I go through a whole podcast, I'm like, there's nothing there that I'm happy about
at all. Yeah. So I mean, it's and that's what 9 and 10 is taking a chance on. They allow me to make this, and I think to answer your question now, way too late. You said, when did I realize it? I realized it probably 7 weeks into the show, where I started having legitimate guests. And I started getting rumblings of, wow, there's a show on TV about video games. And then it was secured by the Michigan Association of Broadcasters giving me an award for the show. Like I got an award.
Oh, that's right.
For that show.
What a fucking award.
I've been in this business for 14 and a half years.
Change the caption on this to award-winning Michael Stevens.
But, it's funny because I've been in the business for 14 and a half years, and I've never even sniffed an award for weather. And I was in 4 months into video games and I won an award. So I don't know what that means, but that's what it meant. That's when I realized. That's when I realized there has a chance.
How much time are you spending? How much time do you spend?
So
doing
streaming. So this is I already told them, like, streaming wise, I stream 240, 250 hours a month on average. Now October, November will be less because I go hunting. So that's like my time to relax. But so streams haven't changed from work. I still take the content that I'm using for work. I'm just using the Works YouTube channel Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to do it a little bit. So those go from 8 o'clock until whenever. And now that I'm 9 to 5, I stream until midnight, 12:30. and then I'm done. And then I go to bed and still get 6-7 hours of sleep. And then I get up and do the things. But during the day, I'm working on my show. So I'll do interviews, either usually in the afternoon, and I'll do interviews or, making that content, cutting it down in Adobe, doing all that stuff. And then I make a half-hour show that needs to be turned in by 2 on Friday, and it airs Saturday and Sunday. So I'm spending more time making content, but I'm not spending more time streaming content. Streaming content's the same. But making the content is just now become more of the daily process.
It's all I always whatever you're doing, whether it's streaming, whether it's preparing, it's all time spent.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
And to be honest with you, quite fair. And I mean, I spend more time now off stream preparing for stream than I ever have, just because I want it to be like if there's a certain game, we'll make sure we have things up the certain way. I'm doing a fundraiser for a kid again. Now, which if people donate certain amounts of money, will make me do stupid things on stream. So
that's right.
So like, we had $60 was donated to me the other day, or it goes right to a kid again. But I had to play a game blindfolded. I literally sat there with my Cobra.
Oh, I was gonna watch that, and I didn't.
I put my Cobra Kai thing on and was blindfolded, and my cousin Jake, who you met, and Clam literally had to try to guide me through this game. And it's Escape from Tarkov, which is a realistic shooter-looter survival game. And so, like, they had to get me from point A to point B to get out of the map. And it was just like...
How many times did you die?
I did 3 times, 3 raids. They call them raids. But I got in... Jake was watching stream and talking to me via Discord. So that one he had lag time because it's like 15 seconds that people see. So, like... That one almost made it out, but I got shot by a AI guy, not an actual player, but an AI. And then
wait, so they weren't there with you?
They were for the second and third one.
Okay.
They just weren't in my game yet.
Okay.
And then the second and third one, Jake spawned all the way across the map, so he had to come get me and then try to help me. But he found loot on his way to me. He's like, I can't help you. I gotta get out. I was like, well, you son of a bitch. And then the third one, Clam, Jake, and I were in a factory, and it's called Factory, and they killed a guy, hid me, killed a guy. They looted him, and then Jake maneuvered me through Factory, which is the smallest map. And there's a funny spot if you watch the video. He goes, look down. I look down, and there's a body. And he's like, press F. And I pressed the loop, and I was looting a guy. I can't see, mind you. All this time, I can't see a thing. So I'm just going by whatever they're telling me. I was like, what is this? Because I could hear the sounds. He's like, you're looting a guy. I was like, oh, sweet. So I looted a guy, and then he got me to extract, and we got out. So I survived 1 out of 3. But it's I will never take my vision for granted ever again, dude. Not being able to see.
It's good exercise. Sharpen your senses.
Oh, yeah. Just blindfold yourself and play a video game. You'll never get more upset in your life. Because it is angering to not, like, I guess that's a good way to look at life. Like, just lose one of your senses for a little bit. See what you hate about it.
Well, I can tell you from, like, sense of smell.
Oh, taste and
losing
smell. That when I did that, I had COVID.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah,
getting that back.
That was brutal.
It was monstrous.
I couldn't stand that. Last night, I went to My Chemical Romance, which was an amazing show.
Oh, yeah.
Down at Little Caesars. We came out of there. I've never heard a louder show in my life. Not because of the instruments and stuff, but because of the crowd.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
they have anthems that people just belt. They are the top, like that album I had you listen to on Rock and Roll Roundtable is the God emo album. So like all these people are there basically for that album, and they played the one song that is like the number 1 song in every emo kid's life called "Welcome to Black Parade."
Oh yeah.
And so that is just the first 2 minutes of sing along. The arena lost its top. I came out of the arena. I've never been that deaf in my life, dude. I could not hear a thing.
Well, I was saying, I said this on a reaction video yesterday. It was some live show that I was watching. And I'm like, I really feel like since COVID, people have just been fucking unleashed, man.
Oh,
They're like, the crowds, from what I've heard, I haven't been to any shows. I'm going November 2nd to Smashing Pumpkins. And
Oh,
Jane's Addiction.
nice. They brought
I'm
it back.
taking my nephew to his first show.
Grand Rapids?
At Little Caesars.
Oh, Little Caesars.
Yeah. And, but I'm like, the crowds just seem to be off the fucking chain.
Yeah. It's
Because
everybody
they
wants to
just
get
want-
out.
Yeah.
They just want to get out.
Can't fucking blame them, man.
I've been to Little Caesars 3 or 4 times for a Wings game.
I haven't been
but
once.
I've never seen that place packed because the Wings have not been good since getting Little Caesars Arena. So that place last night, I have video of it. I posted it on my Twitter, but that note, when they hit that note, I was videotaping that G note, bing, and it was like the entire place erupted, but from the ceiling to the floor, there was just elder emos as we call them, to a new generation of emo kids. They had elder emos with their emo kids. It was crazy. It was awesome to see all the freaks, geeks, cool, whatever. Everyone was there, united, singing, and it was great. The show was amazing. And we waited 2.5 years for the show. We bought tickets March of 2020.
Man.
Dude.
Wow, yeah.
So we were waiting for this. It was supposed to be September 15th of 2020. They didn't cancel it like a lot of bands did. They just pushed it back. Rage canceled. Pumpkins were supposed to play at 21 Monroe Live in Grand Rapids, which is a tiny venue.
Yeah.
They had to cancel that. So my camp thankfully said, we're just pushing it back. They pushed it to the next September. Got to another COVID year. They're like, we have to push it again. So they pushed it again. And this year, finally, we can make it happen. So we waited, 2.5 years for this show.
Is that your first show since COVID?
No, we went to many shows. I say many, but it's like 3 or 4. My buddy, who's the lead singer of the Spill Canvas, they played in Grand Rapids this past February. So we went down to the Stash, which is part of the Intersection. They have 5 venues at the Intersection now, which was crazy. I mean, they have 2 downstairs, 1 outside the Intersection, then the Stash, which is in front. We saw them there. They were doing a tour for their new album. And then we saw Taking Back Sunday and Thursday last September at Crowfoot. They have an outdoor venue. And we saw that last year. I believe we saw Spill Canvas last year somewhere as well. I want to say Grand Rapids again. So whenever they come around, and they've kind of found their way through COVID pretty well. But that was our first arena show. Oh, man. 7 years? I think the last arena show we saw was Fall Out Boy, Paris, and AWOL Nation.
I haven't seen a show since November of 19 in Detroit. Yeah, it's been,
what was that?
Been a long time. It's King Diamond, Uncle Acid, and the Deadbeats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's 1, go down early when you go. 2, buy a parking pass. It would be way easier on your life. And then I think it's like $45 or $40, I think, at the D District app. And there's secure parking. I was
going to get a room at the Motor City.
There you go. You can do that too.
And then take a cab.
Oh, yeah, that'll work.
Is it walking distance?
Motor City? No.
Yeah.
Motor City, well, I'm not sure. We always went to, what's the other one? Illich's wife owns Motor City. He owns Greektown. Oh, yeah. We'd always stop at Greektown and walk to St. Andrews.
I've never been to either of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, get there early, dude. And it is, first of all, I'll have to take you for a Wings game. Sometimes I stumble onto some tickets because 910 has season tickets.
Oh, really?
To Wings game. Yeah. So Little Caesars is by and far the nicest arena I have ever been in. Might be.
Can't wait
until I've ever stepped in.
I was hoping because the Lions game the next Sunday at Ford Field, they're playing the Packers.
Oh, really?
And I was like, what if I could stay down there for 4 days, 5 days? I'm like, fuck, I can't justify that. Sorry, Dylan, we're staying down and watching Lions Packers too.
So should we talk about that mess of a game that was on this Sunday? Have you talked about this yet?
Yeah.
First of all,
started a brand new little side podcast with Tim Logan.
Okay.
Even though he wasn't on the first episode, then my other old co-host Ryan McTighe, we always shoot the shit and talk Lions. So we did 99 million Super Bowls. That's the name because the Lions are destined for 99 million Super Bowls after watching Hard Knocks.
We might not.
It wasn't that much of a debacle of a game.
The first half was a debacle. We ran well. Jared Goff was the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Now, granted, I didn't watch his second.
I hated him last year, but I think he takes some time to get some jitters out. A lot of times,
I think he just has nobody to throw to, or who he considers no one to throw to. But
they actually have a good receiving core, and honestly, they got a fucking offensive line that is pushing and a running game that finally.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't run more. Swift, and we have 4 running backs that literally can run down your throat, and we don't use them. we had Swift, Jamal. We got what's his face, Reynolds.
Yeah. Did you watch Hard Knocks?
I did.
Yeah.
I was not going to. I was very upset that they gave Hard Knocks to Detroit, because it's Detroit. They haven't earned a thing.
They didn't do any of the teams that are on Hard Knocks.
But
They're
now
all
I
shitty
understand.
teams.
Now I understand why they. Now I understand why they do it though.
Yeah, you got to get some excitement about like
the
a young
NFL
team.
picks these teams and then makes their teams happy for it and then lets their teams suffer.
That's not going to happen with Detroit, though.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. We're not going to win 6 games. 5 at
Well, they
most.
might not. Well, I think they'll win 6 games.
So here's my thing.
There's people that predict them to have a winning season. I'm not one of those people.
I'm not. I mean, I was drinking the Hard Knock Kool-Aid by the end. I didn't watch first week. Started watching it the second week. I was like, okay, to be quite honest with you, I hate Hutchinson's family. They play too much, but I can't. I'm sure they're really nice human beings, but it was so fake what they're doing for the camera. I love Aiden. Aiden is a great player. I think he was trying. I think he was trying too hard Sunday. I think he was trying.
He was running right by him.
Well, that's the thing. He was getting too deep. I think he was just finding it too easy.
That's what happens when you got your motor turned all the way up and you're like, I'm going to kill him.
I will say this about the game, but I want to get through Hard Knocks first because Hard Knocks was great. Hard Knocks was wonderfully put together. You find yourself tied to people you didn't realize you'd be tied to. Like, I love the fact that I was tied to Pimpleton. I was really hoping he'd make it. Khalil's a great kid. I'm glad he found his footings. If you haven't watched Hard Knocks yet, he ends up with New York Giants. The last episode for me was spoiled because I saw what happened to everybody.
It's not a spoiler. You can find out who's on a roster now anyway.
Exactly. I was very shocked about how much I cared about Blau.
Oh, really? Because I was the opposite. Fuck that guy
really?
All the way in his fucking Blau butthole. I don't ever want him to fucking see snap time for the Lions ever. His fucking bitch ass. Honestly, just a whiny fucking, I sucked again, you guys.
That is true.
Shut the fuck up.
That is true.
I hated him.
I wanted him to succeed.
Not me.
The defense line got really good. And to be honest with you, Rodrigo, loved the kid. Loved Rodrigo. And I love the last episode where he's like, yeah, he's got the number 2 selling jersey right now.
He's got the highest selling jersey.
Does he now?
They sold out the Rodrigo jerseys,
That's funny. So I love Rodrigo, and I love what he does for the linebackers. And I love the other guy, the long-haired blonde guy for our linebacker core. Yeah, he's good, dude. I do not like our secondary. Good. Our secondary is trash.
Well, the defense overall
Akuda
is
not even
great.
good.
He had a good game.
Finally, after 2 years.
Well.
So here's my thing on the Lions, though. I will say this. The defense in the first half, the energy in the first quarter, the energy that they gave us in the first quarter, I have not witnessed in the Lions program in 10, 11 years. Like, that was probably the most fun defensive watch that I've had in a long time. And they took it to Philly. And Philly's not – Hurts is not an easy quarterback to get to.
No, they're a top fucking, ranked NFC team.
But
and an NFC offense.
Our offense came out and running was fine, but they just could not match the energy our defense had. And the problem with our defense, they went too hard, too fast, and we could not make it the entire game. They were getting tired, man. They were blasted.
Oh, they're chasing around Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like.
And here's the other thing: NFL. If anyone from the NFL ever sees this clip, get rid.
They won't.
They won't. Get rid of the old flick. Jalen Hurts would go run outside the pocket, flick it out of bounds. He did that every time, or just
that should be a
it.
penalty. I'm like, oh fuck! I wish you wouldn't have changed those.
Oh
fucking
my god,
intentional
dude.
ground. And there was another 100% intentional grounding that they didn't call anyway.
Move, but every time he get out of the pocket, he get out of the pocket. Just do this. Gone. I was like, come on, dude.
But I feel good about that team, man.
I
feel great about that team.
I like them. I'm fine.
And I don't mean this year. I just mean they're under the right guidance for the future.
They are under the right guidance. I love their coaches. I love the fact that their coaches are stars from the old days. Deuce and
there's a couple stars, but most of those guys are just been in the league. Randall L, Deuce Staley, and Aaron Glenn to a certain extent. Probably
Glenn's the oldest of them all.
Mark Brunell was a star quarterback.
Yeah, back when he was with
Dan
the Jaguars.
Campbell wasn't. Hank Fraley wasn't really.
Campbell. I mean, Campbell would do his thing though, but he was not a star by any means. But Brunell was. He started with the first Jaguars team when they came in expansion.
Yeah, he was there for 12 years.
Yeah. So I I like their staff. I was not about liking Dan Campbell, but I do like how personal and how hard he works and makes it. He's a good dude. He's a good Detroit. He's perfect for Detroit. But I still think the higher ups above him need to get their shit together, man.
Like who?
Like
honestly, they're
the Lions.
They have
The
a front office.
The Lions need to be sold. Ford's owning them, or whoever owns them now. I think is it her daughter now that owns them? Which is
she's only owned them for like 2 years.
Right, but she's I mean technically she's a Ford, but who's she married to now? Bridgestone? I can't remember who she's married to. I think it's another tire family. Anyway, they need to get rid of it.
Why?
They need to give it to somebody who knows sports teams. Like, I'm sorry. I don't like the Ford family owning the Lions. They never have. They're the worst owners known to man. Maybe, but like, here's the thing: saying they need to sell the team. This is like things people say that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Sell it to the Illiches. But that'll never happen. You know why?
Right.
Because Ford owns half the freaking NFL.
Now they have Chris Spielman.
Yes, I like Spielman.
Top.
But you need more of that.
Like this. Watching his fucking
watching
everything like a mad scientist.
Not a GM who knows nothing about football.
Huh?
The GM knows nothing about football. Doesn't
Brad
watch football.
Holmes?
Yeah.
He knows quite a bit about fucking football.
No, he knows the business of football.
I think you're wrong.
No, that was his whole presser. When they hired him, he's like, I don't watch football. I know nothing about football.
Maybe I missed him saying that, but he seems like, I don't know, I watch Hard Knocks. Seems like he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
That was a big problem. So he was sitting there talking to Dan, and Twitter erupted the next day because they're like, he should not be making decisions. He doesn't know anything about football. And then put his press clip on there. I don't know anything about football. I don't know football.
I feel like there's some signals crossed right here.
No.
I feel like I honestly, I'm going to fucking look this up. I'm gonna find.
Yeah, look it up. I'm pretty sure.
It's not like, what's that dude's name on Joe Rogan? Who looks up the whole thing.
His assistant?
Brad Holmes, GM, Lions.
Leons.
I don't even know how to look this up. I will look it up. We'll fucking put some sort of thing somewhere. All right, I'm just going with the...
I'm still not happy where the Detroit is. And like, here's the thing. I did listen to the Big Show today, and they were talking about this exact thing. I'm not.
Who's the Big Show?
The Big Show is a Michigan sports talk show, based out of Grand Rapids. With Big is the guy.
Oh, that fucking
3 to
huge.
Yeah,
it's
big.
No, it's
the Big Huge.
No,
Show.
it's huge.
Yeah,
it's
whatever.
the huge
show. That guy.
He's
so
a fucking dipshit.
He is. But I was listening to it. They were talking about the Lions, and I am happy with what the Lions are doing. Will they get there soon? No, but they are on their way.
Depends on what you mean by soon. Like, not this year.
No, it won't be this
win
year.
The Super Bowl this year.
They won't even win 6 games this year. 5 max.
Do you want to have a bet? Let's have a bet.
All right.
What do you want to bet?
I don't know. We're already 1 game in the season.
17. You got. That means you got an advantage.
I got an advantage. What do
we want to bet?
I don't know. What do you want to bet?
What should be the bet? I say
6 or more.
7, at least.
7 at least.
You said not more than 6, so I'm going to say 7 or better.
7 and 10.
Huh? I'll say 7 and 10 or better, because I think they could actually win 8 or 9 games.
So anything less than that, I win.
Less than 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 6.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
But I don't even think they'll get to 6. I think 5 if we're generous. Have you seen the other teams that won Sunday in the NFC?
I mean, I didn't watch all the games,
Chicago,
but I know that
granted, Chicago's weather situation was shitty, but
did you see them take the fucking team that a lot of people are considered think maybe will go to the Super Bowl till the last few minutes and lost by 3 points?
Who?
The Lions.
Who? They think the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl?
There's lots of people that say the Eagles will go to the Super Bowl.
No. Yeah. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl.
They might not.
They're not.
But
there's way better teams.
But some pundits will say that they're going to the Super Bowl.
Congratulations on coming back when you should have easily won that game.
What are we gonna before we close this podcast out? Let's figure out what the bet's gonna be.
I don't know. What do you want to bet? Do you want to try some? Should we bet it on some local beer
or some local spirits?
Some local spirits?
What kind of
no,
liquor do you
they
drink?
closed that place down, dude.
There's still other places to buy alcohol. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't care.
What kind of alcohol what kind of liquor do you drink?
Right now I'm huge into Moscow Mules.
So like a good whiskey or a good vodka rather.
Vodka.
Okay.
I'm into vodka mules. But I did invent a whiskey drink over the summer.
What is it?
It's called the Incredible Hulk.
Is it green?
Yeah.
Has it got Midori in it or
No.
creme de menthe?
No, Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew and whiskey. It's green.
It's got to be like Red Bull and shit.
No, it's Mountain Dew and whiskey. Mountain Dew and whiskey. It's green, and then people rage when they have whiskey. Incredible Hulk. And it's delicious.
You want to avoid that shit at all costs.
Why?
The raging.
Oh, yeah. But it gets the job done.
That's like I did. I thought I was going to be slick once and did. I called it Redheaded Stepchild. It was Red Stag and Red Bull.
That sounds atrocious.
It's not good. It's not good. That was a blackout night, and I don't. There's a lot about that night. I don't.
There was a
remember,
reason
man.
why that one was called Redheaded Stepchild.
Yeah. Never again.
All right, so yeah, we'll do. We'll go down somewhere and we'll get some. We'll get some drinks, or we'll either make some drinks. Whoever wins.
Okay. When
getting the drink.
When I win, we do a return podcast. Okay, no matter what.
Okay.
And whoever wins, we drink whatever
we
the
drink
winning
for the
drink
podcast.
is.
Yeah, we got it.
I'll take a bottle of bourbon. I'll get you a bottle of vodka. How about that?
That works for me.
All right.
And then I'll make all my vodka drinks for you.
Make a vodka drink, you make a whiskey drink. What's that song?
Chumbawamba.
That's the one. Yeah. Oh, Tim Logan. Have Tim Logan tell you the Chumbawamba story one of these days. Not a public story.
Pissing the night away.
It's the story of our life.
Pissing the night away.
Oh, hey, before we close out.
Yeah.
Let's check the comments. There are people commenting
comments
on here, by the way.
Oh, are there?
On the YouTube stream, yes.
All right. Whoa. There's peoples.
Someone's up the hill on Stimson. There's a Cadillac.
Hey. Stimson is.
You got Ramon. Yeah. Ramon. Talking about housing costs in TC Leona. I can't really read these comments because they're small, and I'm old, and I can't really read the print.
Hold
to
on,
tell you
we
the
can
truth.
just do it this way. Use your phone. Because I want to answer these now.
Yeah, let me pull the phone up.
Yeah.
You get my glasses on.
Yeah. You're old.
Tell me about it.
What's your YouTube channel again? Did you change the name?
What the hell?
of it?
Everything.
Yeah, that's right. Because it used to be.
I had to turn the volume down on my phone before we're echoing into.
Existence. Live. There we go. You got commercials on this bad boy? No. Okay. Comments. Oh, I got nothing.
There's Ramon. Smitty, good to see you in the new digs. Mon the Biff. That's do you ever listen to Biffy Clyro? I was gonna bring that to you on the Rock and Roll Roundtable, but we didn't get the chance yet.
No.
We are gonna bring that shit back. I just
Yeah.
got to get it all figured out.
You got you. Yeah, because it's different now with.
Trays was talking about Trays. He says he's in Cadillac due to the housing costs in TC Leland.
Oh, so
that's
they
why
come
I'm
this way
fucking
too.
here. He said Dune Grass is one of the other ones in town. Is that a weed place?
Dune Grass? Yes.
Okay. And that's the only
pretty sure.
comments I see right now.
And then Facebook side of things. Do we got any on the Facebook side of things?
I did not show. I shared to the Smitty's Smithhole Slipper Club, but I did not look there.
Smitty's.
No.
Smithhole.
Nope.
Slipper Club.
Nope. Nobody's on that one.
No, he's on that one.
Well, we'll get you out of here. I know you got a stream coming up.
Yeah, in fact, I just checked my text messages. Buddy's got a new graphics card. He's like, oh, I'm cracked. I'm ready to play. That means it's going to be a rough night, so it's fine. But yeah, dude, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks for having me. Second, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Cadillac.
Thank you. Welcome to be my first guest in the Smithhole
like I said,
Part Deuce.
I like it, man. It's nice.
It's a little tiny ass space, but I'm making it mine, you know?
Well, if you ever want to come up, walk up the street, dude. We'll have some drinks. I got a pool still, but I'm sure I'm going to be draining it here shortly.
Might not make it this season for pool to swim or anything, but I'll swing by there for sure.
Yeah, dude. Then I'll show you the old man cave, and then, like I said, if you need anything with this, just let me know. I can make your life a whole lot easier.
I'll be picking your brain. I like easy things.
Easy things, and now you're only 2-minute walk away. In fact, I'm gonna walk back up the alley. We're connected alleys.
Did you walk here?
Yeah.
Okay. God, you're right down the street.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get the hell out of here.
Yes.
Michael, thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Woohoo!
So long, sucker.
Good night, everybody!
I am so sorry for everything that has happened.
Neat. Bye-bye.
Yeah, all right, I'll see you guys there. By the bar and get your face, huh? Get me paid, bitch! Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog. I love y'all very much. Peace out! Good night, ladies. Good night, sir!
What the hell? Everything!